Hello and welcome to this presentation of ultimate security and efficiency in signing documents. Particular focus on the modern legal industry. It's presented in association with High Performance Counsel. My name is David Kinnear. I am the CEO and founder of High Performance Counsel. And I'll be fielding questions to the founder and CEO of ZoroSign. The individual in question is Shamsh Hardy. Shamsh is an award-winning visionary in all things relative to digital business platforms and providing organizations with the necessary tools to transform their businesses into digital powerhouses. As CEO, he's focused on ZoroSign's long-term vision to be the most advanced eSignature and digital transaction management solution in the marketplace, and always putting security and privacy first. He notes that he wants to continue to offer services and products that are real, mission critical, and legally acceptable in any court of law. And I'll leave for him to explain a little bit more about who ZoroSign is and where it's heading. I do like to note that he's a strong believer in the premise that necessity is the mother of all inventions, and feels efficiency is key, but not, and this is critical, at the expense of smart and secure solutions. Switching gears, we are all familiar at this point, I think, with electronic signatures. They've been around since before the passage of the eSign Act in 2000 in the States, which defines electronic signatures and some. It's pretty much everything related to electronic records. Specifically, it says the term electronic signature means an electronic sound, symbol, or process attached to or logically associated with a contract or other record and executed or adopted by a person with the intent to sign the record. The eSign Act is now 19 years old. And today we'll touch on why electronic signatures are perhaps not as widely used as anticipated originally, especially by legal professionals, and perhaps how the regulations, laws, and technology have changed in recent months to facilitate greater use of electronic signatures. We will be recording this session, and we do invite questions from the audience. I think you can submit those online. I believe there's a chat box, and I believe that the recording will be made available afterwards as well. But I'm going to turn to Shamsh now, CEO and co-founder of ZoroSign. Shamsh, pleasure to chat with you this morning. For those who are perhaps a little unfamiliar with ZoroSign, can you tell us who you are and what ZoroSign is?
Good morning, David, and thank you so much today, and I appreciate everyone's time who's joined our webinar today. So jumping right in, I'll start with who is ZoroSign. So there's three aspects of ZoroSign that I'd like to share here. One is going back to the eSignature patent, and that's something that you mentioned with the eSign Act. So the other co-founder of ZoroSign pioneered eSignature and co-authored the electronic signature patent that was brought into by law by then President Bill Clinton through the Millennium Digital Commerce Act, or the eSign Act. The second reason why ZoroSign was co-founded and came into fruition is that we had our first government installation, and there was a need by the government for a complete solution for the general public to be available. And we saw that that was an opportunity where there would be massive demand worldwide for ZoroSign, and that's why it was commercialized. Now, that need was specifically focused on user privacy and data and document security. And finally, our patented ZoroSign forensics token was also devised and developed to build into the ZoroSign platform. Because what we found out there with all the other competitors and solutions that are available to the general public is that those solutions are weak in legal enforceability of the eSign documents. And when we're using a solution to sign off or authenticate, approve, and verify that that is us and we want to execute those documents, those solutions should be very, very stable, secure, and most importantly, legally enforceable. So what we did was we added a private blockchain into the solution, so then it'll never be denied, it can never be questioned. That was put into our forensics token, along with our proprietary technology that we've built in, the secret sauce that people call out here, and we've captured it all with an audit trail, and that is how we capture the document's DNA. A little bit more about what is ZoroSign. So ZoroSign is a unified digital business platform. So it enables businesses to transform their paper-based processes into paperless solutions using digital transaction management. So its core focuses, like I've mentioned a little earlier, is on user privacy, document and data security, and signer validation and authentication.
Excellent. There's a phrase that we're increasingly hearing in the marketplace, sometimes referred to as DTM, or digital transaction management. It probably covers a multitude of scenarios, but perhaps you can dig into that a little bit for us. Explain what that is for the average person, so when they hear about DTM, they'll know what it is and how we can benefit from it.
Sure. I'd like to talk a little bit. I'd like to talk about DTM in the larger context of a digital business platform, or what we call a DBP. So, technology changes every 4 to 6 months, and successful businesses must continuously go through these transformations. Now, and that is obviously to adapt and remain competitive in the changing markets. Now, asking an organization and businesses to change their technology every 4 to 6 months, one, doesn't make sense. It's too very costly in terms of time and money spent. So adapting a digital business platform enables these businesses, these processes, the services provided, and the platforms that are given to their customers to function in this digital ecosystem, essentially allowing businesses to go completely digital. Now, within the context of DTM, ZoroSign helps businesses transform from paper-based to paperless, and that is in a secure manner. So we remove that popular print, sign, scan, mail, or email process with a secure, digital, fully automated, and paperless process. And then we also offer biometrics for added security for the electronic signatures, document management, verification and authentication of users, signatures, and documents.
Interesting. So there's also a lot of talk about blockchain in the marketplace, and some herald it as being, all you need. It sort of does everything. Perhaps you can dig into blockchain as well and tell us how that may fit into this also.
So blockchain is a personal interest for me. I love it, and I could speak for days. So I'm going to try and make it as short as possible, maybe in about 3 sentences. So blockchain basically follows a method of maintaining a chronological record of transactions in multiple copies on a ledger, is what we call, or a smart contract. So today, ZoroSign uses the blockchain technology to solve the problem of ambiguity and trust. These, as I'm sure you'll all agree, are very, very important. So we use permissions-based private blockchain technology to ensure the security and privacy of the user's information who are part of the transaction, the data, and also to ensure sanctity of digitally signed documents using encryption. ZoroSign detects tampering and signature forgery of electronically signed documents through art software. It provides the chain of custody, the full audit trail, and a number of additional attributes and characteristics about a document that is signed using our technology.
Fantastic. There may be a number of lawyers and professionals in the legal industry listening in or watching this recording later, and perhaps you could share for their benefit, or perhaps for that matter for clients' benefit, any recent changes in federal or state level legal frameworks, regulations that might impact how this would be adopted or how this might be utilized in the legal context?
Sure. So there have been a number of initiatives in the state and federal government level in the United States, all the way from reducing carbon footprint, adopting blockchain technology, to adopting electronic signature for electronic wills, testament, and even remote notary. So back in December of 2018, the government passed the 21st Century IDE Act, and that focuses on digitization of documents and increases the use of electronic signatures across all government departments and agencies. The IDE Act is of particular interest for us. The two provisions of the law deal with digitization of all government services and forms, and second, to increase the use of electronic signatures within the federal agencies. So what this means essentially, that paper will disappear in favor of electronic records, and that electronic signatures will become the norm and also mandatory.
That's extraordinary. That's really exciting stuff. I mean, it's been 19 years now since the passing of the eSign Act, and one of our opening observations was that e-signatures are not as widely used as perhaps some had hoped or anticipated, especially in sort of the legal industry, and perhaps in particular when it comes to particularly high value transactions. What are the factors that are contributing to the slow adoption, if I can put it that way?
So let me talk about 5 gaps that are there in the solutions today, which I brought up earlier when initially introducing who ZoroSign is. The first thing is that electronic signatures are superimposed images. So there's no real electronic code or digital information, and so there are security and privacy concerns of the users. By placing an image of a signature as well, from a legal standpoint, you're only capturing the intent to sign a document versus actually electronically signing a document equivalent to wet ink. So these are 2 areas that ZoroSign already addressed and continues to address in electronic signature aspect. The second is ensuring correct signature attribution. So capturing the document's DNA, which is the audit trail and the chain of custody, is an area that we already, which we also have filled the gap there. The third aspect, or the third gap in the solutions today, are inadequate third-party digital security certificates. So what they offer is no authentication or verification of that once that certificate expires. So an insurance policy is best for you if you are using solutions that use third-party suppliers of security certificates. And those certificates expire every 2 years. So documents that are of high value, if a fee needs to be paid to keep those valid, then obviously there'll be slow adoption in the market. Solutions also lack a true DTM or a digital business platform. And true businesses want to use automation when it comes to signing. They want things to be done in a single click. They want it to be easy and understood by all parties, not something that would be alien to the receiving party or the signing party. And lastly, tampering of documents and signature forgery are also areas that have been greatly affecting the technologies today in this space. Because once a document is signed, because an image is placed on that document, it can be cut, copy, pasted very easily and pasted on other documents. Even content of the document can be manipulated as well. So that is an area from a tampering aspect. And from a forging an electronic signature, the solutions out there basically communicate with one party, the first party and the second party, by email address. So verification, authentication, and validating both email addresses being a human being and then being the actual person who is supposed to execute the document. That is the final and one of the biggest areas in the 5 gaps that we found in the solutions that are out in the market today.
So if I'm a lawyer in independent practice, or I'm perhaps a legal counsel at a company, and we're looking at the possibility of adopting, electronic signature technology and, going digital, as it were, what should I be looking for in an eSignature solution? What things would you highlight? Perhaps it's some of the elements that you've just mentioned, but what would you really highlight as being the most critical?
So I'd highlight using ZoroSign first. But jokes apart, I would just like to give maybe about 4 key pieces that they can look at. One is that ZoroSign is the only company using the technology from the eSignature patent. So the signature is an area that one should look at, and how that signature, once applied on a document, can be legally enforceable every time and all times. The second thing is that how long are those documents going to last? So ZoroSign offers a lifetime document escrow with its own proprietary security certificate. So the signature and the certificate never expires. So that is the second area that one should look at, is that how long will your documents be valid for? And are you required to keep renewing your account or keep paying a maintenance fee to keep that security certificate valid? Because when it goes to the court of law, a valid security certificate will be required to show to the courts. The next thing is global recognition. If it is acceptable worldwide by everyone, by governments, by individuals and large organizations, that is also something important, because one would not want to be using a solution that is new, that they would need to hear of for the first time, and then that would also cause uncomfort. Trust needs to be built and things like that. And finally, how are you authenticating the executed versions of those documents? How can it be verified, validated, and authenticated? And ZoroSign, through its patented technology, authenticates both paper and digital copies of all executed documents. So those are the quick 4 things I would recommend that one would look at.
This may be asking the same question, but in a different way or from a different perspective. But in a world of alternatives, as it were, what is so different about ZoroSign's technology and solution? What's the USP? What is the secret sauce? What's the standout attribute that gets the most attention? What is the showstopper, as it were?
Sure. So again, I'll just keeping time of essence. I'm just going to give you quick 4 things here. One is we have the industry experience, as the other co-founder has been working on this technology since the 1990s, late 1990s. So it's come across a long time, and we are domain experts in this space. We have a great technology leadership team. We are ahead of the curve. We are the only solution that uses the blockchain technology. And that shows how important we feel a digital business platform and transacting through digital transaction management is. The third thing is we use uncompromising security, and we ensure privacy is there for users' data and documents at all times. That is basically our essence. That is what our promise is to the rest of the world. And finally, we secure documents and we can prove that they're not tampered with, revised, revoked, or canceled. So that's why I would recommend why you should choose ZoroSign.
Very interesting. So something else that we see in the marketplace is the remaining, and this is still especially so in the legal industry, the relative caution, lack of comfort in regards use of public cloud for sensitive data and electronic records. So question for you, how does ZoroSign deal with that? How do you deal with the caution? How do you deal with the lack of comfort around the adoption of cloud?
That's a very good question. So what we've done is, so my first answer, one-word answer is blockchain. So when we're using everything on the cloud, when we're providing our services on the cloud, it is part of a blockchain. And that technology basically is that comforting factor for everyone when using the cloud, knowing that there are multiple copies kept on multiple nodes or ledgers, and then that'll always confirm if data gets corrupted in one server or one database, it'll always be available in others, so there can never be any dispute. But there are others, yes, who do not prefer the public cloud. They feel that doesn't work with their IT or security policies. So we have a hybrid cloud. So certain data stays with us, or maybe we just process the transaction or the workflow, and all customer data and the documents are all kept within their safe or secure cloud or servers. Now, we also provide a private cloud pod. So basically what that is that it's still on the cloud, and you could use our cloud services that we currently use, which is AWS, or they could put it on their own cloud, and they basically run a copy of ZoroSign through there, and then we would basically maintain that cloud server for them if they need so. And but the data and everything has all the credentials to log in and log out are with them. Finally, for the really big, the big requirements from the ultra sensitive businesses and government bodies, we offer an on-prem solution. The on-premise basically is we give them a copy of ZoroSign, and they install, they run, and they service ZoroSign through their secure backend.
That's a comprehensive proposition, and certainly it addresses this caution in the marketplace, which is decreasing but not going away anytime soon. Another thing that we see in the legal marketplace increasingly, we certainly see it more broadly in the marketplace as a whole, is the issue of integration and pre-integration. Something that I think that we'll see a lot more of in the legal industry over the next handful of years. Do you integrate with other systems or ecosystems in the legal space or other communities?
Yes, that is something that we understand, and we acknowledge that is something that is a very big aspect and a requirement from all our customers across all verticals, and especially in the legal space. So just to get a little technical, we have full REST APIs available for any business application to integrate to ZoroSign. They can integrate using our APIs, which are available on our website from their end if they have their developers, or we can do that as well. We also have released our app on the Salesforce App Exchange, as well as Clio. So people within the legal industry, I'm sure, will be familiar with Clio. And then we've also launched our fully native iOS and Android apps to provide more security and privacy features for an enhanced use by our customers.
Shams, you've coined the phrase paperless life, and this is by way of closing out in the questions and the time that we have today. But tell us a little bit about what you consider the paperless life to be, and how possible that now is in this sort of increasingly digital world that we live in.
So this is one of the reasons why ZoroSign was also developed and built, and it gives the true meaning to a digital business platform or a true DTM, and that is paperless life. I think we are learning more and more. Governments are educating us. They are also moving towards that. We are educating ourselves, and we're also seeing the effects of what disruption we are doing and we could potentially do to the environment. And a solution like ZoroSign, which is a green technology, we basically coined the term paperless life where we are encouraging businesses and organizations and governments to go to truly digital, truly paperless. And what we've done is, as a gesture from our side, is that every time an individual within an organization transacts 8,000 pages, which is equivalent to a medium-sized tree, once they reach 8,000 pages, we will plant a tree on their behalf and maintain it for the life of the tree. And that is something that's how we can give back to the world and to the environment and to our future generations who also truly deserve every single bit of enjoyment that we also have in our world today.
The technology that you have built, the technology that you describe and the impact that it has on business is exciting. But I will tell you that this slide and this description of the paperless life, the commitment to the environment, that is truly worthwhile. It's a very, very interesting, it's a very, very significant commitment, and I think it's particularly timely in this day and age. So I'm glad that we had the opportunity to cover this aspect. So often with sort of technology presentations, it's all about the technology, but not about context and, you know, where the organization or the technology fits into the broader economy and how we interact with it. So delighted to hear about this initiative and also about the product and various issues here today, Shamsh. I think we're pretty much coming up on time. I'll invite Akbar to let us know if there are questions for us to address. But if not, then we'll wrap it out with thanks to Shamsh for his time today and for everybody that has joined us in this session.
Hi, David. First question is from one of our participants. The question is, we are a law firm with 10 attorneys with a very heavy travel schedule. How easy it is for my team to start using ZoroSign?
Great. So it is extremely easy. You could set up your account within 30 seconds. You can reach out to any one of us in our sales team, and they can get you going with a free account and then move it up to based on your requirements. And we have training available as well as helping you set up your organization. Setup is very easy, and within a matter of minutes, you could be sending off your first NDA or agreement to sign.
I believe if that's the if that wraps up the questions, then it just remains for me to thank Shamsh Hadi, CEO and co-founder of ZoroSign, for your time today, for a very, very interesting presentation, not just on the technology, but also on the commitment to the environment that ZoroSign has made, and also to thank our audience participants for dialing in, listening in, and for those who will watch this presentation at a later date. Thank you, everybody, and that's a wrap.